Hey, it's Heather with Salty Kisses. Welcome to my podcast today. It is the third week of January already, which I cannot believe. Um, in like a week and a half, 2 weeks, I'm going to be going to Costa Rica with my boys, and I'm super excited. I cannot believe it's already almost here. Well, and my daughter. Taking my kids on a trip. The four of us haven't really been on a just us trip somewhere in a really long time. So it's gonna be really fun. I just got done walking in one of my favorite spots over by the Columbia River. It's been a beautiful weather. Trying to get in some daily walks and get some fresh air. And I was just thinking how I really needed to do my podcast. Um, I try to have a couple weeks recorded so I can post them to schedule out every Monday. Um, but I don't know. This week's been a little busy. I kind of had a bunch of downtime, and then this week's been a little more busy than I had planned. Um, Trying to get out of that after the holiday funk, you just kind of feel bleh and trying to stay productive, but everything in me does not want to be productive. So I'm really thankful for the sunshine because sun gets me going, makes me feel alive. Um, I've been trying to uh, keep up on house projects, trying to build new clients for my real estate business. Actually, when I got home from my trip the beginning of January, I got some new clients and I just got another one yesterday. So super excited about that. Um, did not realize how difficult real estate is, but that's gonna be a whole other podcast I'll do. Today I want to talk about I was kind of going through some old Instagram posts and looking at sometimes I archive some of my stuff just like maybe it doesn't really relate to me. But I realized that a lot of my stuff has stayed pretty consistent over the last several years. I think I got a little lost along the way the last couple years, just making some life changes. But I found this reel that I made, and it was the day that I got my divorce finalized in June 10th of 2022. And I was realizing, I think a couple podcasts ago, December 10th was my 5 years. Since that date was 5 years since I had got separated, and then June 10th was 3 years since our divorce had been finalized. So I wrote, I hate divorce, but I am divorced. It's been one of the hardest, most heartbreaking, painful seasons of my life, with my very soul being shattered to a million little pieces. Sometimes I wonder if I can ever get back to me. I wish divorce on no one. But unconditional love does not mean unconditional tolerance. And with that, the life altering thing happens, and you find all hope lost in your dreams and what you thought would be. In some ways, I feel like it's grieving a death, but that person is still here and they aren't gone. Every day I get up and keep going, knowing I will get through this season with my faith, my family, and my closest friends. It's community and relationships that keep you going, and never ever be afraid to love hard, even though it hurts. It's totally worth it, even if it ends in pain sometimes. Life is beauty and pain all rolled into one. And then I put a quote. John Eldredge says, Christianity is a love story set amid war. And I had a little Bible verse and made a little reel of it, um, of the ocean in Hawaii, which was one of my last trips as a family when I was still married. And then I got home and we decided to separate. And I just look back at that, like, you know, from June was 3 years of divorce. And then this December was 5 years of not being with the person that I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life with. And that's kind of where I got into life coaching and trauma coaching. And like I said, where I'm at today, moving away, leaving Alaska. My boys still live there. My daughter lives in Washington with me, and just a way different life in my late 40s than I ever thought I was going to be, ever. And sometimes I just look at my life and I think, am I ever going to get over the hump? And I think I get over it, and then I'm back struggling again. And John Maxwell talks about it. you have your downhill habits, you're never going to get back uphill again. And I did a little post on my Instagram last week about that. And just, I remember listening to him at some of the leadership stuff I would go to with my ex-husband for our business and stuff. And he was always one of my favorite speakers because, he talks about, your who you are and being a leader and just having values and beliefs and like sitting in that and like being this good human. But sometimes, from belief systems or way we were taught or way we grew up or environments we were in and, trauma stuff, things, it kind of, we get this lid and we hit it and we can't get past it and we just keep hitting it. We keep hitting it and we try to climb up the hill and we just fall back down into the valley again. And we're like, what in the heck? Like, why can't I climb back out? And, in Ecclesiastes, they talk about seasons. You have the seasons of life, and we have a season for everything under the sun. And I just kind of been really thinking about that lately with just some stuff that I'm trying to get through. Um, and when I read that, like with my reel, I totally forgot I made that. Um, and I had 500 likes on that thing. I was surprised. I was like, wow, I didn't even pay attention. My heart was really torn that day, and I was the one that left my marriage um, out of hurt for several years. Um, and I'm really thankful how far me and my kids have come, and even their dad. He's definitely chosen to work on himself, which is always better than just staying stagnant. And when we were together, we could never quite get to the dream that we had or that I had. And I always had this like vision, and I could see it, and I was like, I'm gonna tell him, I'm like, I don't understand why we can't get there. Like, I see it, like it's out there in the distance. Why can't we get there? And so, I could never figure out why we couldn't get there. But I think we're just, we'd been together so long and so many years, and a lot of excuses and a lot of hurt. And, one day you just realize you can't do it anymore. Um, and so here I am sitting. Um, so I'm sitting here thinking like I'm kind of stuck in that valley right now. And I know there's something good. Like I feel it. I feel something, but I don't know how to get there. I don't know where I'm going. Um, I do real estate. I don't absolutely love real estate, but it's my path I'm on right now. Um, and I just wonder, like, okay, I see a vision. I see these things, but I'm getting older. Like, I'm not getting any younger. I hope I figure it out, or maybe I won't ever figure out. I mean, life's a journey, right? I think we get stuck in these journeys, and I don't know. And then I'm like, okay, God, what are you trying to teach me in this? How do I be better? Um, and I really have thought about like how I am alone, and I really enjoy being single. Um, there's been a couple relationships I try to be in. It's not like I don't meet people. I've messed them up because of walls, because of past hurt that I let um, fears take a hold of me. And I just wonder, like, will I be alone forever? I'm very picky, which I deserve to be. I stayed in a tough marriage for a really long time. So, of course, I'm going to be extra picky. But I just don't want to be so picky where there's nobody left. Um, but also, I'm not going to lower my standards either. And I have certain things that I want. So, will I ever get married? Will I stay in the town that I moved to 2 years ago? And will I stay in the little house that I bought? These are all questions I have been asking myself. Like, where am I supposed to go? I have a possible opportunity to buy a house and land um, in this next year that I've wanted for several years, but it didn't work out. and then my grandma passed away, and I could possibly have the opportunity to get it. Um, but I don't know, like, I don't know. I don't know if I want it. I don't know if I want to do that anymore. I don't, sometimes it's just like, okay, the vision that you were thinking of isn't really what you wanted. And are you going on the path that you set yourself forward to? And are you going to meet someone that wants to be on that same path as you? That's the other thing. It's like that person that you meet in the second half of your life, if you decide to get married, they gotta they gotta want to be in that path. They gotta want to dream the dreams with you. And I have this big picture of this my favorite person, you know, note I wrote down on my notes of who my favorite person, what I want him to look like, the things I want to go do with him. So I know I want somebody. Um, it's just, how do I get there, and what does that look like, and how do I stop being so picky? Um, but again, like I said, I think pickiness is super important. And I will not settle. Um, like I said, I can't, and I'm a little bit stubborn in that area. But I also don't want to push away the one that's for me because I'm scared, and I've been scared for a really long time. And I actually met somebody that I really, really liked and felt connected to. Um, and I know I'm part of the problem. And it's, how do I get that? And that's the question I ask myself. So I guess today is just talking about, like, life paths and journeys, and I don't want to live in my past anymore. I want to live in my present and my future, and just know, like, all those things that I went through were for a reason. Which I don't always agree with that, but I do want to look at it in like a positive twist, a positive mindset of, okay, I went through this. How do I become better because I went through that? And how do I show, you know, light and love and peace, and that there's still good people out there, and there's still kindness. And introverted me wants to hide away and not deal with it. And then the parts of me that love humans and connection and doing things and adventures, I get kind of pulled in these like two separate directions. And I'm looking at that vision, like that vision that I set forth a couple years ago. And I know that I'm on that path towards that vision. And the one that I had when I was married is so different now, but also the same. Like, I still see that picture. It's just going to be with a different person. And I see myself finding somebody. I just don't know who it is. And so it's like a season God has me in right now, that I'm realizing a lot of growth, a lot of healing, that things that I thought that I had worked through, that I haven't. Um, and doing this podcast is one of those things, one of those fears, I think. What do you have to talk about today? Like, who's gonna listen to you? And of course, I've been sharing it with some friends and family, and they're sweet and saying, "Oh, I really like it, and it's good, keep doing it." But there's still that voice in the back of my head, like, "You're dumb. Nobody's gonna listen to you. You don't have anything to say. Um, why are you doing this?" And I know those are all lies. And like my life coach would always say, "What's the truth and what's the lie?" And the truth is, I have a voice. I have been through things, and my story is important. I just don't want to live in the story of the past and the hurt and the bitterness of it. I want to live in the growth and the healing and being a better human because I went through that, and to show people who are going through the same struggle. And even if it wasn't a relationship struggle or a marriage struggle, but life is hard, and we have pain and we have hurts. And there's a lot of us who just love really, really hard, and we get bitter and we get hard. And there's been a couple things that have already happened in 2026 that make me sad. And I think, oh, you think, oh, you're in this new year and it's supposed to be all glorious and a change. Well, no, It's just a new year. It's another month on the calendar. We just turned to a six. We turned to 2026. So it's different. Um, and it's another season. It doesn't always start fresh in January. Could be spring, it could be summer. Um, so yeah, I'm just what kind of path are you on? Have you thought about it? Have you thought about the journey you're on and are you doing downhill habits and not being able to get uphill to where you want to go? Are you hitting your lid? Um, do you have a vision of your life? And these are all things that are really good to think about with life coaching, with becoming the person you want to be, to going the direction, the path you want to be. And if you do have faith and you follow your faith, if is that guiding you? Is that taking you to that next level of life? Um, and I hope, and my goal is at least if I could just help one person by doing this podcast that has been through struggle, through pain, through heartbreak, whatever it is, that the better I get at this, the more stories that I get in my mind, the more comfortable I get with this, the less fears that I listen to, that maybe somebody else wants to start a podcast or a YouTube channel or wants to tell their story. Um, Stories are important. We all go through these things, and keeping them quiet is not how you heal and how you get better. We have to tell our story. Our stories are part of us, they're what make us a human. That's how we connect. So I just want to thank you today for listening to my podcast. I hope wherever you are, if you're enjoying sunshine, you're getting fresh air, getting exercise, you're doing things to benefit your soul. Um, and just be out there and work on yourself and be a better human. You can subscribe below to my podcast. Every Monday, a new one comes out. Um, Eventually, maybe I'll get them out twice a week, depending on how wonderful and creative my brain decides to be. And you can follow me on my Instagram page, and I also have a website below if you're interested in life coaching. Also, if you need any type of trauma or grief coaching, check out Stronger Co. based out of Montana. Carly is amazing, and I am one of her coaches through that nonprofit. Have a great week, and I will be back next week. Talk to you soon.